oath of office for Counselor Mark DiLoretto. Are you ready for this? All right. Well, let's have you come up here. We'll have the city manager. And
Karen's gonna do it. I'm gonna take a photo.
did we already get the family in the shot beforehand?
We did it.
All right, great. Excellent.
Repeat after me. I, state your name,
I, Mark DiLoretto,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution and the laws
I will support the Constitution and the laws
of the United States and the state of Oregon,
of the United States and the state of Oregon,
and the charter and the ordinances of the city of Estacada,
and the charter and the ordinances of the city of Estacada,
and will well and truly perform the duties
and will well perform the duties
of the office of city councillor
of the office of city council
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my abilities.
It's nice to have that corner filled. Congratulations. And you're in for it now. That's all I gotta say. It's great to have you out there supporting him. We appreciate you being here tonight. Thank you. Okay, if you'll please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I have roll call, please?
Counselor DiLoretto. Counselor Dolezal.
Here.
Counselor Hill. Here. Counselor McElroy.
Here.
Counselor Metcalf.
Here.
Counselor Tenbush.
Here.
Mayor Drinkwine.
Here. Thank you very much for that. Okay, we are at the first citizen and community group comment. Absolutely. Okay. Shirley. You gonna be nice to me tonight? Okay, all right.
I'm here to talk about the city ordinance that says people that live in the city limits keep up their property for looks and for fire danger. We have two, well, technically we have one, the Leatherman's old gas station area. It's got an abandoned building. The glass has got to be 6 feet tall. It's just an eyesore. And that's part of the ordinance to keep your property up. If that catches on fire, it's going to take to Wade Creek, no problem. And then the city library is getting to look for some reason. I know Gary retired. And for some reason, the city library property needs to be a little bit more maintained. Its grass is probably this tall. And if there's a fire, if there's somebody gets smart and throws a cigarette out, especially with 89, 98 degree weather that's coming, we're gonna have a fire. No questions asked. You know, the pond area is bad enough, but around the library, the library is a picture of Clackamas County. I mean, it's one of the best libraries in Clackamas County, and it needs to be maintained with city ordinances. I mean, city ordinance, I've talked to her a couple of times. She's got some of the properties like over on Broadway by the schools, and my favorite one in our cul-de-sac. But I'm more concerned about the library, and Leatherman's has still got, I mean, they don't have gas in them, but they do still have gas lines under that property. You know, and I hate to see it go, but more or less it's an eyesore. Period. Okay.
All right, we'll look into it. Thank you, Shirley. All right, any other comments that'd like to be put in now? No? All right. We'll move on to the consent agenda. You've all had a chance to read it over. Do I have a motion on the floor?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
And do I have a second?
Second.
I have a first and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Okay, department and committee reports. We'll start off with you, Melanie.
Okay. All right, have a slideshow up there. That will keep me on track. But while she's getting that going, I will start by saying that we had some third graders visit City Hall over the past several months. couple different classes, a couple different times. And they're third graders from Rivermill Elementary, and they're studying government. And so they we talked to them about city services, what the city does, what the city doesn't do, what the city council does, and how they set the vision and lead the way for what the town will be. And one class sent some letters that we got in this envelope to the mayor. They all in the class wrote these letters. So I just wanted to read a couple of things. One of them said, "One thing I like about our town is going to the Clackamas River. I appreciate that you keep it clean to help our community." And these are all addressed to dear Mayor Drinkwine. So, but I'm sure it's the whole council too. One thing I like about our town is that it is super safe. And another park. Okay. I'm glad that you noticed that. Okay. Is it recording? Yes. Okay. Oh, we probably have to open it again. That's all right. It's just one more slide. I can maybe post this. Let's post my presentation, just a few slides. We'll put it on the meeting for tonight on that page. We can do that. I don't know if we can do that. We'll figure out a way to get it on there.
We can put the PowerPoint presentation on the.
That way people can scroll through it. But anyway, Monday, July 13th, we'll be meeting at Wade Creek Park in the community room there. It could be indoor, outdoor. We'll kind of play it by ear for what the weather's going to be. Probably it will be great by July 13th. But we'll join the city council for a community picnic and a facilitated discussion. If you want to email us your questions ahead of time, community, so that the council can be prepared to speak to the topics that the community is interested in, that would be great. But everyone is invited. And is there any other questions?
No.
Oh, I have one more thing that I didn't get it in the slide show because I just got the email this afternoon, but Julie with Todo Santos wanted to thank so many of the city representatives for being part of the 5th annual Estacada Early Childhood Day, which was a week ago, Saturday, I believe. She says, thank you so much to everyone involved. They had 107 people come through, and it was great to have support from the city to have booths for Estacada Area Arts Commission, the Downtown Estacada Commission and the Chamber, the Estacada Traffic and Public Safety Committee, and the Estacada Public Library all in attendance. So they said thank you, and I say thank you to everybody who was there for that, representing the city.
Good.
That's
Perfect.
everything.
Thank you. Our chief's here.
Hi.
I thought I'd throw you in there, just,
Didn't give you any
surprise attack. How's everything in the city? Are we doing good? Is there anything you can see that's might be of interest to us at all?
No, everything's going great, actually. Honestly, like
Good.
everything's going really well. The deputies are doing a great job.
Good.
The city's pretty relaxed as it has been. One of the things I was going through today was our enrollments in the Sheriff's Office exclusion program. And we have a fair amount of properties in the city. There's like 96 properties total that have at one point in time enrolled, and there's a bunch that are expired. So I'm going to make a push to reach out to any of those property owners to see if they're still interested in being part of that program or not. For those of you that don't know how the exclusion program works, it basically gives us the ability to do a formal trespass without the property owner or some representative being present if somebody's on a property not there for business purposes or committing crimes on that property. So it just gives us another tool to help keep people's properties clean for them and people from littering or camping or whatever they are doing on the property at that time. So I'm going to work on updating that. As we know, e-bikes and e-motos and all the things have been like a topic of discussion for every city around the nation right now. Happy Valley passed a city code
Yeah, I saw that.
that they actually had their first success last week. They were sitting at the city hall, and an adult rode by on a bike. So one of their code enforcement went out just to chat with him. While he was there, a couple kids doing wheelies through their parking lot went out there. So they tracked them down. Three of them did not stop. The other two did, and they had some conversations with them and learned who everybody was and dealt with some good enforcement there. And their new city code is cool because it's not about what you're riding, it's not about your age, it's about the behavior. So addressing the behavior of, hey, look, we understand this is, the e-bikes aren't probably going to go anywhere anytime soon, at least that we're going to be able to control at this level. And so it's more about, if you're going to be out there doing this, be safe. No wheelies, stay in the bike lanes, obey the traffic laws. So that's more what theirs seemed to be focused on, was managing the behavior, which I think is a really good place to start for cities. So I've obviously shared that with staff and what their code ended up being, which is pretty cool.
Great.
Otherwise, nothing new to report. I'm here for questions throughout the meeting if you guys have anything that comes up.
Excellent. Any questions for the chief now before we move on? No, thank you for that update. I appreciate that. Okay, I'm going to start off with council here in your groups. Does anybody have any reports they want to put in at this point?
Oh, I got lots.
Huh?
Since we're talking about committees, I'd like to address a couple of the committees outside of what I usually go to. Sometimes I will go and watch them back if I can't make it, but traffic and safety, I really loved that meeting. That was pretty cool to watch. And I particularly was interested in the wildfire. I'm probably going to bunch up the title of them, but I believe it was Jason and what's the other name? Anyway, they were two gentlemen that go around the county, and actually they're like mitigators of wildfire. It's the Clackamas County region that actually does this, and they are willing to give out resources to us to prepare us for that. To speak to you, Shirley, that's something you might want to, I don't know. I guess I'll volunteer you, Jim, to talk to her about that. But the other one was the EDC. They had requested that maybe we have workshops with council just to get to know us. And Ryan, he actually said, yeah, that sounds like a really good idea. 5 to 10 minutes, nothing more, nothing less, just enough to get to know what our vision is, because that's what they particularly actually use, that those words exactly. But for me personally, May 28th would have been the library committee, but I had already prior arranged a CCA dinner in Oregon City, which was really cool because I got to see their building there. I think it's the Hannon Chambers. It's a fun, it's really cool. It's a nice building. But they gave us a full on tour, but the Oregon City mayor was there, and she just that day or day before broke ground at the Willamette Falls waterfront with the tribe. It's pretty stellar. First time in 15 years that they've done anything other than demo. That was awesome. And then on June 4th, I went to the State of the City in West Glen, which ironically enough, they also are working with the tribe to gain water access for a park. So that was really neat. And Rory, he's amazing. But what I will say is I know that come August for I'm not quite sure what it is, but the library mobile van will be present for that activity. It's in August.
National Night Out.
National
Yeah.
Night Out.
National Night
Yeah,
Out.
sorry. That's pretty neat. But other than that, and C4, but I can talk about that a little bit later because it's more of a comment.
All right.
But yeah, I'll pass it on to you.
Our meeting's not till the 15th.
Okay, great.
Yeah, both of my commissions met. Downtown Estacada Commission met, talked about the events that are coming up. They're really gearing up for the 4th of July parade, which was really exciting. They tried to talk about Uncorked, but the person that was putting on Uncorked didn't attend the meeting. So, and unfortunately that event got canceled because we didn't meet the OLCC requirements for food vendors. So hopefully we can get that under control, and next year just have a normal Uncorked event. And then Arts Commission, well, actually Downtown Estacada Commission, they interviewed or spoke with the commissioner that we appointed tonight, which was very exciting, very energetic person. So I'm excited for them to come on board to give the rest of those ladies some help. And then Arts Commission met, they spoke about the summer passport, getting that out into schools and into businesses. And then, of course, they're gearing up for Arts at the Creek in July, which is going to be a really big, fun event for, for the arts community. So yep, that's all I got.
Okay, thank you, Jerry. Jonathan, anything? No? Okay. Okay, moving right along, we are at the public hearing. And I will open the public hearing. It's going to be, which one am I doing? Are we switching those around or are we?
No, this is just straight in order. So
Okay.
this is your next.
All right.
chapter.
So I will open up the public hearing on resolution 2026-006, a resolution related to the municipal services state shared revenues. Okay. And I will let Wagner
Okay.
give you the input.
All right, for the state shared revenues, in order to receive those funds, there's a requirement that we hold a public hearing so that anybody in the community that wants to make comments on that may do so. It was approved it's approved through the budget committee and will be approved by this resolution tonight, but anybody who wants to speak about it, they're more than welcome.
Okay, and I don't have any speaker request forms. Is there anybody in the audience that wishes to speak on this at this point? No? Okay. Are there any questions from the council on this? No? All right, I will close the public hearing. And we will have a motion on the floor.
I move to approve resolution 2026-006, a resolution relating to municipal services, state shared revenues.
Okay, do I have a second? First and a second, we'll do roll call on this one, please.
Counselor Di Loretto.
Aye.
Counselor Dolzall.
Yes.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor McElroy.
Yes.
Counselor Metcalf.
Yes.
Counselor Tenbush.
Yes.
Mayor Drinkwine.
Yes, thank you very much for that. Okay, we will now open the public hearing and talk about resolution 2026-010, a resolution adopting the budget, making appropriations, imposing the tax and categorizing the taxes for the 2026-27 city budget. I'll give it to you again to explain.
Find that staff report. All right, so this is for the adoption of the budget that was approved by the budget committee. It was approved on May 12th, and Oregon budget law allows the council to increase estimated expenditures in a fund over the amount approved by the budget committee up to 10%. Other than that, it is limited. And I'm to see if there's anything else I wanted to add. This includes the when you approve this budget, it'll also approve the salary scale that will take effect July 1. And it's all gone through all the appropriate processes. It's going to be posted it is posted online, but people will be able to look at it, reference it. And so it's just presented to the council tonight for adoption through the resolution.
Okay. Thank you for that. Any questions for her on that? No? Okay. I don't have any speaker request forms. Does the council wish to comment at all? No? Okay, I will close the public hearing, reopen city council, and can I get a motion on the floor, please?
I move to approve resolution 2026-010, a resolution adopting the budget, making appropriations, imposing the tax, and categorizing the taxes for the 26-27 city budget.
Okay, can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, first and second, we'll do roll call on that one as well.
Counselor Di Loretto.
Yes.
Counselor Dolzall.
Yes.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor McElroy.
Yes.
Counselor Metcalf.
Yes.
Counselor Tenbush.
Yes.
Mayor Drinkwine.
Yes.
Motion
Thank you.
passes.
Very good. That's very good. Thank you. And I just want to say before I move on to this next one, I enjoy watching the family of De Loretto over there. Admire him for doing his first stab at this. You guys are great. Watching you guys out there support him makes me very happy up here. It makes us all worth it. So thank you for that. All right. We're moving on to council business.
All right. So Mayor, can I make one comment?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so I was informed by the city attorney that I should have put this council business in a different order. The resolution that you're going to look at should have been after the second consideration of both of those ordinances. So if it's all right, we'll move C down to just before F.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. See, just before F. Okay, gotcha. All right. First, we have the downtown street master plan approval, the trees.
All right.
So I'll give that to you.
Yeah, so if anybody has who's watching or listening has looked through the packet, try to do a descriptive staff report for this, because following the South Broadway Street renovation in 2015, a street tree master plan was adopted for the downtown zone. So it coordinates the appearance of downtown as well as requiring street trees that would be conducive to tight urban spaces or tight spaces in an urban setting. But this is an update to that based on the experience with the previous trees over the past decade. The trees that are on Broadway are the same trees that were planted a couple years ago on Main. The ones on Main are doing great right now. They seem to do fine when they were younger, but as they aged, they have become more troublesome with the debris, leaf debris, and growing into the buildings, and it's been a little troublesome. So we are recommending an update to the street tree plan. Our parks manager had done some research and found out that the little gem magnolia tree is there's a lot of options for street trees out there if you start researching it. But the little gem magnolia is it's an evergreen, it's leaves, but it's an evergreen tree. So we won't have to deal with the leaf fall in the autumn on Broadway where it's tighter spaces, and also on Main when that eventually gets changed out. They fit nicely in tight spaces. They have flowers. The picture I included in the staff report is in not quite to Beaverton, but kind of over in that area where they had planted some. Anyway, that's what we're recommending for the Main, Broadway, Zobrist Wade. And then coming the other direction, there was a different tree on the plan that was part of the street tree plan. And in this case, we're recommending updating that to those tall, narrow maple trees with the little maple leaves. They're not large leaves that are planted on the highway as you're going out of town to towards Clackamas. And that way, when you're coming into town, you will either come on in through all the maples there that really have a good seasonal look, or if you turn in on Second, like a lot of people do, you maintain that same continuity. They will lose their leaves; those will have to get swept up, but you still have the seasonal look, and it's a more spread out area over there. So those were the recommendations that we're presenting. And if there's any questions, I'm happy to take those questions, but I think it's going to be a really nice change. We won't change everything all over at once. Start working on Broadway first. And because there's some that did not survive, they were replanted. Those didn't survive either. So we'll figure out how to get the older trees out, which is a little complicated. But at least for a start, probably when they do get started with that, planting this different variety and see how that works out. I think it's going to be beautiful. The little gem magnolias, that they're a little more unusual because they are evergreen. In researching into those, they need part sun, part shade. So they should do fine in between the buildings because they'll get that. Anyway, any questions before or recommendations?
Since we're on the topic of trees and the retention ponds.
Yes.
I briefly talked to you about this earlier, this last weekend, but the fir trees are having babies in people's yards, and it gets away from you. Like you kind of see it at first, but then all of a sudden a year later, like, holy smokes, that's going to be a problem. So I just wanted to bring that to mind because there was like 30 little babies growing on the outside in between the sidewalk, the fence, and then inside the retention pond area. So
Let me have Public Works check into that. Okay.
Not that everybody loves trees, but not when they grow into the sidewalk and you have to pay for it.
They're cute at first, and then, so it's probably better if they're growing where they weren't intended to grow, it's better to deal with them ahead of time. Retention pond, fir tree. Okay.
Are we planning on just replacing them all? Or are we replacing one and seeing how it does? Or are we just gonna do them all on the front end?
It would be a progression. There's some that have, like up by Key Bank, there's one that's dying right now. And then the one across the way from it has, it was taken out because it was pushing up the sidewalk. So that we could start with some of those, starting a section. We'll have to kind of map that out. I haven't had Don and Scott map that out for me yet, but
Okay.
it wouldn't be all at once likely because it's gonna take some work to get those larger trees out.
I think that'd be a good thing too, because just hate to see us do all that work and then see
Try
that the new
some-
trees are not performing. Won't have to do it again.
Right, that's,
So,
yeah, we'll test, okay, do a test run on some of them. Okay,
I imagine there's probably a special time of year that you can only plant those ones too. It could be
usually you
wrong.
plant trees
Magnolias?
in like late fall, I think, I'm not
Yeah,
sure. Well,
You want to transplant in the fall because then they're watered on their own.
right,
Yeah.
they'll make it through there.
Okay.
So we'll
And they're
check
not
it-
heat stressed.
So I'll look into that, but that is a good, I appreciate that suggestion to go ahead and do a trial.
Okay, and I'm gonna throw a little conversation in here just because we're talking about trees.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen throughout the city, but any aerial views that have come out or anything that we've done, it shows a lack of trees in our city with all the new development. Now, we are already suffering, and I'm not a big climate change conspiracy person or anything, but when you've got that much pavement, that much sidewalks, that much area that is no trees, you're starting to raise your temperature within the city. Now we're talking water restriction. So a lot of the yards are going to rock gardens or whatever, and they're not watering anymore. So now we've got more heat permeating off of this. What you're doing is you're creating your own heat zone here. So we're going to have a serious discussion on bringing trees into the conversation instead of getting them out. So I just want us to kind of think about that, maybe set up a meeting where we put that in there of how we're going to get through this and keep our temperatures, start cooling them down, because we're going to heat ourselves up so much that it's going to be a problem down the road. So I want us to start thinking green, start getting some trees in instead of taking them all out, because I've seen more and more in the areas cleared out, especially if you get a sky view from it.
We have had a lot of trees that kind of aged out or were becoming hazardous to the buildings around them. And so we have taken out quite a few trees. So that's a good thing to look at probably.
Do you want to, I just want to clarify, do you want to look at creating like a tree plan for the city where we recommend trees
I've already brought
for?
the tree city to the
Yeah.
city, and that's a complicated street to get on, because when you have tree city, there's limitations whether you can even cut a tree in your own yard without
Yeah.
getting a permit.
Yeah.
But I think we can come up with a plan that's workable
Mhm.
to get trees back into our scape in a way that says, we're just managing our city and our temperatures and everything that goes along with it.
So part of the code audit updates is landscaping requirements. It is, I think it's only in the R3 zones, but that's something that when we bring that to you, you guys could discuss.
Sure.
Making sure there's trees in that and then expanding it potentially to other zones if that's something
All
you
right.
want to look at.
Sounds good.
And I found out in recent history, Elena had done a report on,
My last
urban
city was a
trees.
tree city, so I have a very large PowerPoint of I think.
tree, and so we promoted trees and like these are
Yes.
good options for trees. Maybe people would start planting more and
Yeah, I know they're hard to maintain. I get the whole issue with the trees, but at the same time, I'm seeing it already in the summertime. Our temperatures are going up quite a bit.
Mm.
And with the amount of trees, like I said, I saw a couple videos of the sky through a guy that has those drones. And he was showing me all the areas where we used to have trees, we have no more.
Mhm.
And I think that has a lot to do with the temperature increases that we're seeing down in there in the valley. I want to make sure we prep for this going forward, especially if we're talking about water reduction like we are.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great idea to develop a tree plan which lists trees that are good for next to sidewalks, under power lines, that are drought resistant, all those things that you want to make sure that you put in for your tree plan.
All right, so we're all on the same page.
Let's do it.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Actually,
Yeah.
and you and I talked about this a little bit. When I read the tree plan, you don't just dig a hole
right.
and put the tree in. It was amazing, the detail that they went into with the type of soil they use and the amount they had to dig out and stuff like that. I wonder if you're talking about a tree plan for the city, if you've got some kind of resource for homeowners, so that they're not, so that if they want to,
do a great job to make the right kind of hole. Sounds crazy to say that, but the right kind of hole, by a sidewalk, that sort of thing, that might be a nice resource.
Yeah, part of what we did in my last city is published like how to plant a tree videos, diagrams, so that people knew when they're putting in their trees for the best success, here's how you want to do it.
Good. All right. Sounds like that's encompassed in it, so that's good. All right, I will move along to the next thing. Jonathan, you got something?
I challenge the council to look at this as an opportunity to do more. I think we're stopping at trees, but if you're going to go to trees, the real problem is not just what type of tree or putting a tree back or taking them away, it's beautification. And what comes with beautification is ownership. There's a sense of pride, there's a sense of accountability, there's a sense of entitlement. It will change the culture around the community as well and make people appreciate things a little bit more. Maybe they'll pick up the trash instead of just walk over the top of it, little things like that. So I think if we're going to dig into spending money on trees, which is important, I'm not disagreeing. I don't think we stop the buck halfway there and stop at trees. I think going back, it becomes a beautification overhaul as a whole. The tree plan can be worked into that, sure, but beautification needs to be addressed so that people can take a sense of pride back in their own community again.
I agree. Well, agreed. All right.
All right. We
Any
could, there's a motion to, okay. Or,
I move a motion or just a consensus to bring
well,
it
we should
back?
probably do a motion. Let's do a motion.
Okay.
I mean, not everybody might agree with it, so we'll just do a motion.
All right. A motion. How do you want it to read?
It's on here.
Oh, you got it? Okay, good.
I move to approve the 2026 street tree master plan update as presented.
Second.
First and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Okay, well, next we are at the appointment of a municipal court judge. I'll hand that over to you, Melanie.
Okay, so a couple of years ago, our judge who had been, and I kind of documented this in the staff report just for history's sake, in case anybody wanted to read history, but we had a judge for a very long time from 2005 to 2024 when she retired. She retired rather rapidly, and so we needed to get a judge to be the judge for our municipal court right away. So we appointed Judge Larry Blake as a pro tem judge, and then somehow 2 years have gone by, and so I wanted to bring that back. I spoke with him. He's only come out once or twice. He's basically an on-call judge for us because we do send all of our traffic violations to justice court. So he would hear things. The one time that he was out most recently was parking violations that were being questioned or disputed. And then if there's any type of a code enforcement court that we would need to have, he would be here for that. And he's been really great. I can call and ask him a question if I need to. He works for a bunch of other cities and he's just got a really great positive demeanor for a judge. He can be very positive, but also, apply the code that he needs to. And so I am recommending that we appoint him permanently for as long as he'll have us. And that is in the motion is also in there
Okay.
in the staff report.
I move to appoint Larry J. Blake, attorney, as judge of the Estacada Municipal Court and approve the contract with Judge Blake.
Okay, second.
Second.
I have a first and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Okay, now we're at that part that's kind of flipped around.
Yes.
D, then
So
E,
we'll go to-
then C.
So
Yes.
D, we're gonna do that first. Second consideration for ordinance 2026-008, an ordinance prohibiting the establishment of new marijuana processing, productions and wholesaling uses within the city of Estacada, referring to the ordinance to the electors. Okay,
Okay.
so I need a motion.
This staff report for these were updated according to how the council wanted them to be updated last time. The city attorney wrote the staff report. It is very detailed and she has very specific motion language. And so that's in the staff report, but I just wanted to say she did. If anybody wants background on this, she did a good job of documenting that.
Okay, we trust that she did. We went through it for long enough. Can I get a motion on the floor for that one?
I move to approve and adopt ordinance 2026-008 prohibiting the establishment of new marijuana processing, production and wholesaling uses within the city of Estacada and referring the ordinance to the electors.
Second.
Yeah, a first and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much for that. Now moving on, we were at which one? E.
The motion, yes, the motion is still in this. She did one staff report for both, so the motion is
Okay.
in this thing.
All right, so the second consideration for ordinance 2026-009, an ordinance establishing regulatory license terms for pre-existing marijuana business licenses. Okay. You want to talk to that one at all, or?
I don't have any comments other than this is the recommended way from our city attorney to allow the existing businesses out there to continue operating. They won't be allowed to expand or change, but they will have this particular license to allow them to continue operating, so they won't get caught up in the not being able to renew an OLCC license or something like that.
Okay. Got a motion on the floor for this one? Go ahead.
Just for clarification, this does cover where we were struggling at the end last time, that little stopgap on protecting the people being able to sell their asset.
So the sale of business is after the election. So we have that hardship in.
Okay.
So
I'm
it's
just trying to make sure that, okay.
Yes.
Yep, that's all. Sorry.
Okay, no, that's fine. All right, motion on the floor.
I move to approve and adopt ordinance 2026-009, establishing regulatory licensing terms for pre-existing marijuana business licensees.
Okay, second.
Second.
Have a first and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Okay, now we're going back up to C, is it?
Yes.
Okay. Resolution 2026-013, the resolution referring to the voters the question of prohibiting new marijuana processing, production, and wholesaling uses within the city of Estacada.
All right, and the city attorney also drafted this staff report, so it is very detailed and includes procedure and timelines for the ballot title referral, if anybody's interested in reading through all of that. But basically, after adopting the marijuana prohibition ordinance, the city council must refer the ordinance to the electors for a vote. So this staff report that is included in the packet explains the ballot measure referral process, timelines involved. A ballot measure is attached for proposed adoption by resolution. And the city attorney, maybe if you want to discuss this with her, I think at the time when we were writing this, we thought she was going to come to this meeting, but if you are needing further clarification, I could schedule time for her to come and talk with you. However, she's included the resolution and how the ballot measure will be lined out, the caption, the question, summary for that ballot measure.
Okay. You all feel comfortable with that? Because we did talk about this already. So I think we've got, it's pretty lined up. So can I get a motion on the floor on this one as well?
I move to adopt resolution 2026-013, referring to the voters of the city of Estacada the question of prohibiting new marijuana processing, production, and wholesaling users within the city.
Second. Okay, I got first and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, last on my list, I have transient ordinance discussion. I'll hand that over to you, Melanie, and maybe the chief can chime in on this one.
Sure. In fact, I just included a short staff report that city staff and our local law enforcement deputies, they follow state law, city ordinances, and county policy when dealing with issues related to transient individuals, especially as behavior that they exhibit relates to health and safety and public access to places. And so I think Counselor Dolezal was the one who wanted to potentially discuss this. I did not have our city attorney join for this discussion at this time. If after you discuss, a majority of the council would like to get into specifics about making changes or anything like that, I think what I will do at your direction is to schedule a time with the city attorney to come and speak with the council and guide us through that process.
Okay.
So I remember we talked about this. I don't know if I was on the council yet, but I remember the conversations about potential transient laws. But at the time, the Boise hadn't reached the Supreme Court yet and none of the grants passed. And since then, both Boise and Grants Pass have been decided by the Supreme Court. And so it seems like it might be an opportunity to take a look at our transient ordinances. What instigated it is as the weather's changing, we're seeing more transient looking type people, specifically around City Hall, sleeping on the grass at City Hall, piles of stuff around City Hall, personal belongings or whatever it is, that sort of thing. And so I thought I would take a look and see in Oregon specifically if anyone else has done anything like that. So I took a look at, of course, our ordinance. I looked at Molalla, I looked at Grants Pass, and I looked at Happy Valley. And there were some similarities, particularly regarding camping, but there were some other things that were of interest that I thought we might talk about. One, I think Molalla specifically distinguishes between camping and resting. And I thought that was interesting. And then most of those cities also specified specific spots in town where you might be able to do something like that. And so what my thought was, in the interest of not just safety, but we were just talking about beautification, is it possible, and just me speaking out loud right now, possible to maybe have some spots in town like City Hall, or maybe the park over at Wade Creek, or whatever, is appropriate, where we might develop some ordinances, not necessarily with fines or anything like that, but the idea was to give law enforcement something that they've a little more teeth or something like that, instead of encouraging someone to go or something like that. That was the thought.
Okay. Sure. Yeah.
We already have this ordinance drawn up in our document history. Melanie, is there a way we can get that previous ordinance sent back out to everybody when the one we declined to put into effect way back when we were talking about this? And then we can look at it. We can all look at it with fresh eyes, and then make it an agenda item for a future meeting, and then we can come back and look through that document, or talk through that document together with actual facts and stuff in place, since it's already drawn up for the most part. So we can just make the changes that we want to make to it.
That's a possibility. Yeah.
Okay, Jonathan, then Mike.
I was gonna say, I think that I would be open to discuss it. I think it needs to be a bigger conversation than just preliminary, but I think in doing that, what we need to be considering and going after is behavioral things. We need to be specific so that it's not unwelcoming or, unaccepting, if you will, inconclusive, or however you want to phrase it, right? We want to make sure that it's equitable. How's that? In the sense that what we're going after, and I was talking with Melanie about this earlier when I picked up my packet today, it's what is the intent? It's not, we don't want you in our community because you're homeless. That's not our intent. Our intent is, we don't want a threat to our community. We don't want hostile or aggressive behavior. We don't want trash or disruptive behavior. We don't want you to come to our community and feel that you have a special way of being or behaving that our community goes against our community's ethos, and that the people that live here do yield to, or live within the bounds of the equal parts of respect amongst the culture here. So I think it's super important that if we do this, we just be direct about what our intent is, so that we don't have to get into this and the semantics of feelings and emotions, and this was stated in a way that was distasteful, or that. We just be very clear about our objective is to protect the kids, keep the drugs off the street, make sure that you understand that we are not a town strong in resources for helping with this thing. Those bigger cities they're more resource abundant for that type of thing, and that the community here has a standard that's adhered to.
I like it. Any other comments?
Just when we bring that, the old ordinance back, if we could have the attorney look at it and not just the Supreme Court decisions, but the subsequent settlement with the Oregon laws that came in and just see how those would apply to it as well. So.
And then Jonathan touched on it with the trash part of this. A lot of this, we can look at it in a different sense. I mean, we don't allow people just to dump their garbage on the sidewalk, right? In general, it doesn't matter who you are. Okay, so deciphering what is garbage and what is personal belongings, because what I see happening is people dumping garbage because they can and walking away from it, and leaving it there, and it's not personal belongings. So can we use the codes we already have to enforce the garbage being left behind? So if they're breaking the law by dropping garbage and just leaving it there, even if they're sitting by it, it's not personal belongings, it's garbage. Can we, that fine line, I know it's a fine line, but can we start enforcing that? No public littering. I don't know where we hit it from, but it falls for anybody who would do that, not just somebody who may be, possibly homeless, but that might not even be the case. If they're dumping garbage, then they're dumping garbage, period. We already have codes for that. So can we start using those when that's applied? Because I'm seeing a lot more garbage around it, more so than anything else, and they're just dumping it there and leaving it.
Yes. So, I mean, you touched on it. What you're talking about is going to be very nuanced.
Yeah.
In that if they're still seated with whatever possessions they put on the ground, they're still within constructive control of it, as the law would say. So even if it is a bag of, debris, garbage, whatever it is, if they haven't left it there and gone somewhere else, we would have a hard time enforcing that. Now, if they're leaving things behind, absolutely, right? Littering is easy to enforce in Oregon, and the law already covers it. You don't need anything specific in the city to actually address that. And yes, the deputies will and do address that when it happens. I'm confident I have at least a decent idea of what you're talking about. And there's people who travel with a lot of what we would consider garbage. And some of that comes into some of their mental health issues, right? Mm-hmm. And they have things that they're their worldly possessions, whether we think they're trash or not. Mm-hmm. And that's where we run into problems enforcing that when it comes to the court system. So it is nuanced with what is garbage and what is not garbage, because that's a matter of not law, but personal opinion. And so once they dispose of something, it could be something worth money that they leave behind. That's still littering, right? That still falls under the law of you can't leave junk for somebody else to clean up for you. Yeah. So yes, we will absolutely enforce that, and we do. But there are some nuances to what we are talking about. Sure. And we definitely want everything we do to be legally defensible when it goes to court, so the city doesn't wind up in a problem. My deputies don't wind up in a problem.
Sure. Yeah, I understand that totally. All right. Jonathan.
Yeah, I guess my comments would be more just specifically, I don't mean to keep this going, but I just want to make sure that we just address this. I think when I think about it, it's the change of, right? Let's do like a 3-year review really quickly. If we look 3 years ago when we had the summer and the weather hit, it's not that getting transient or a different population of camping or whatever, transient population of people in the summer is new to us. It's the behavior that's coming with it now that has changed, where historically we had people that came, they brought their bike, they brought their farm, they brought their cousin's farm, they brought their kids' bikes and all their camp gear, and they found a nice little spot and tried to squat on it and take it by the river or whatever they want. They found their little piece by the river, not in rhododendron, but in Estacada, and it's a good second, right? But that's changed now. And now it's people that are coming and they're digging through trash cans and they're leaving their needles, or they're pushing their shopping cart that they brought from Safeway in Damascus somehow clear to Estacada. And then that's being left behind, where they're taking the Dollar General's shopping carts and they're leaving them at the library for somebody else to have to figure out how to return. It's the behavior, not the people. The changes in the behavior and the standards of the types of behavior that are coming to the community. And that is what my concern is with.
No, then I think it's time.
So I'd love to address that. So I completely understand. It's, like you said, we're not addressing somebody because of their status in the world.
Yeah.
It's their behavior that they bring to the community. And that's very reasonable. Some of the little things that have helped us address it in more of our populated areas of the county. You talked about like a Dollar General shopping cart. If someone sees them rolling down the street with the shopping cart, those aren't to leave the premise. So they're technically stealing from Dollar General. And so we have, tiered approaches. Hey, you need to take the cart back. I'm going to watch you take the cart back. You take away the avenue of them to carry all their worldly belongings and something that doesn't belong to them. There are people that, for lack of better terms, just like to howl at the moon, right? They're going to be loud. They're going to be boisterous. And we can address some of that behavior because it's about livability for the community. And let's face it, right? We're coming into summer and there's going to be kids out roaming around town, and the kids want to feel safe. The parents want to feel safe with their kids in the community. And that's for me and my deputies to make sure that we're there and present. And we do a pretty good job of introducing ourselves to anybody that's new to town and making sure that, hey, if you need resources, we will point you in the right direction, whether they're here or in another place. Because really it's about knowing them and getting a feel for why they're here, how long do they plan to stay, and are they going to be a productive member of society, or are they going to be a nuisance? And it's really, sometimes it takes a couple weeks to really get a feel for what somebody's intent is in the city. And so far, I think the deputies have done a good job. It's been, there's been some newcomers to the city, and I see some of them have already moved on with their day. But I agree, the behavior, and that's where we come in, right? If you guys see behavior, or anybody in the community sees behavior that's outside of the norm or outside of what's acceptable in society or within the law, we're happy to go address it. Whether it leads to bigger things or just a conversation, we're happy to address it and introduce ourselves to the new people in the community.
Good.
Yeah, and I'd just like to make sure that my comments are, I think you guys have been doing an excellent job.
Not taking any other way.
Yep, no, they do a good job. Go ahead.
I think Councilor DeLoreto had a comment, and then I have a kind of
Okay.
maybe potential summary. I'd like to try to summarize what I'm hearing.
It's my understanding that the Supreme Court rulings for those two cities did not override Oregon House Bill. So any discussion that we have, we really need to make sure we fall within that, because any type of restriction we make upon transients will go up against this House bill, whether we like it or not. But thank you for answering the questions that I submitted earlier via email. It sounds like your contact with them is, you're on top of, your deputies are on top of it. So I appreciate that. Coming from originally Oregon City, when I retired from the Air Force, working with the homeless there, it was really good to see the police there, and police in Portland also trying to make that contact just to get the feel and being on top of things. So I appreciate it.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is, it sounds like everybody would like to have this discussion a little deeper. Looking at, we want to make sure that our community is livable, safe, the health and safety of all. And so I probably need to get Laura, our city attorney, involved, bring her back. If you want, we could just continue as we are going along. If we do dive into this, it's going to be a budgetary impact, which is fine. I think it might be a good time to do that now, but it's up to you on if you're all ready for that discussion.
Yeah, I think, at this point, because of the amount of push and shove in all the cities, it's time to have that conversation, because it's not going to get better. It's going to get worse. And we have to be on top of it. In order to keep our community safe, we've got to cover all the bases now. And it might cost us a few dollars. I get that. But this conversation isn't going to go away. So.
Yeah, sorry, I'd like to speak to that, and thank you for that, because there is a huge part of that where the behavioral health thing comes into play. And it's like doing our due diligence and making sure that we're available for them before we make that choice. But at the same time, when you start seeing the evidence of not just here in the city, but up at the gates, those are the parts that I'm concerned about, because we can't touch that area as city. That's then up to you guys. So it's like us having the good faith rule of knowing that y'all are doing your part. And I do appreciate this conversation, because I think it's something that does need to be had, because then people know that we're actually thinking about it and we're on top of that, because it's not often seen what you guys do.
No, agreed. And it's top of mind for everybody that works out here. We know it's important to the city to keep the city clean and safe. And the deputies that work the surrounding areas, this district, that aren't within the city also understand that. We include them in the conversation,
Right.
so they also understand what the priorities are of the city.
Good.
I just want to make sure you did capture the note to relook at The existing or.
The ordinance that we
the-
previously
like what,
reviewed. Okay.
Councilman Temish, Councilman.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yep.
Okay.
And I want to clarify for timing that it might not be next meeting, because next meeting you have 4:30 tour, the wastewater treatment plant, 5:30, you're doing the joint workshop with planning commission, the code audit. So I mean, on top of everything else in the agenda. So it's going to be really heavy meeting next meeting. So maybe the second meeting in July, the July 27th meeting would be more feasible.
Okay.
Okay.
Fine with that.
Okay.
Fine with everybody?
Okay.
Okay, great.
All right.
All right, appreciate that.
Okay, thank you for that discussion. I know that there's values in the community here, and we want to see, if somebody's here permanently living here or just passing through, everybody abides by those values that we have. And so I think this is a good.
What's our
good-
crime rate right now, Chief?
I couldn't tell you the actual crime rate. I can tell you that this is one of the lower crime, the amount of crime compared to other communities, and even within the county, is much lower here.
Good.
We're doing
I
very
wanna
good.
tout that. I want to tout that. So anytime you see your brothers in arms, let them know just how good the crime rate is, will you?
Understood.
Because I do all the time.
Knock on
Okay.
that wood.
Yeah, we're going to keep it that way.
All right, thank you, everybody, for that discussion.
No, we appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, we are at the next citizen community group comments. I got one out here.
Hey, Tom.
Yeah, I was waiting for you.
Been a while.
You've been resting.
I got a lot.
All right, thank you. Okay, buddy, you're up.
Okay, Tom McEnany, Springwater, actually, but Estacada address. As you see, I'm dressed in my work clothes, and my work takes me to a broad spectrum of towns, cities, worst of all, Portland. I wish that I could never go there again, and to you guys are doing a great job, and I always support you. And whatever happened in Sandy the other day, I hope that whoever got shot is going to be okay. So speaking to this, as important as you all have made this, I am out there and I have had to deal with these folks. And I try to be as Christian as I can when I am approached and whatnot, but being an Irishman, I'm tested to the nth degree on how far I can be patient. So lately it has been apparent to me that the occupation, if you will, of the town by homeless, it has decreased. But I go back several years ago where I was involved with the people in Eagle Creek who were inundated with the crime. And that spilled out into Estacada as well. The Clackamas County Sheriff's Department finally got a handle on it and quelled it to the point where the folks that owned the property sold it and made everything better. But being proactive, I don't care what the state says right now. They don't care about the little folks out here in the country and wherever else. They're not bothered by this kind of situation. So taking up an old situation, it has to be considered, let's fight it. If the states comes in and says, no, you can't do that, why not? Make them enforce it. Make them come back and tell the folks in this city, if they are inundated with folks that shouldn't be here or are behaving badly, then make them enforce it. Make the citizens of this town comfortable with what decisions they're making in Salem, because it has nothing to do with here, other than the fact they're making stupid rules that nobody enforces. That's all I have to say.
All right.
Wonderful to see
Thank
you all.
All right. Anybody else? No? All right. All right. Now we are at the mayor and council reports and comments. I'll start off with you. You don't have to comment, or you can throw anything you want out there.
Nothing to really comment at this time.
Okay, good.
I'll make up for him. I got 4 things.
Okay.
First off, I was, first elected with onto this council, the last general election. And, early on, I remember, the current city attorney and, city manager saying that, Salem viewed Estacada as a conservative town. And then, we've had several contentious issues that we've had to that we dealt with, where we had a boisterous public conversation with our voters, which is great. That's how it's supposed to be. But I actually took a look at who our voters are. And so what I did is I went and Clackamas County elections and looked at our precincts. And I wanted to take a look at, when someone had to vote based on a party instead of, the nonpartisan and all the bonds and stuff like that. And the most recent one was the last general election. So I took a look. And what I found, and I'm only looking at the Oregon state thing. So I took a look at the U.S. rep for the 3rd district, the Oregon Secretary of State, the Oregon State Treasurer, and the Oregon Attorney General. And all of the existing people in those positions here in Estacada lost very badly. 2 of them didn't get out of the 20% range, and the other 2 were in the 30% range, which means Oregon, or rather Estacada, was clearly very different than the rest of the state for these particular offices. It works out and it's very consistent with the different precincts. There's, I think, 4 or 5 different precincts surrounding the area. 106 is the main town, and then 359, I think, is up that way, but there's some on the other side. But they were very consistent, within like 1 or 2 percentage points. But it's basically a 2-to-1 margin in terms of how the citizens in Estacada vote. And so I was thinking about that. So what? How does that apply to the council? And what I was thinking of was, each of these seats is elected on its own. It's not proportional. And so it's actually possible for this council to be a monolith one way or the other, just because of the way the people vote, but it's not. And so I was thinking about that. And if you think about this community, which is so wonderful, I mean, we've got artists and we've got tradesmen and we've got people, foresters and clerks, and we've got retirees and we've got, new families. I mean, it's, we've got a great community, and I suspect that they don't want to have to think about us. They just want to go live their lives. And in my opinion, they're able to do that because with this council, we rely on competence and civility and the ability to work together, and the goal of mutually understanding where we're coming from. And so I've said it, multiple times, but I just wanted to tip my cap to this council and to the mayor, because that's what we are. And it's always a pleasure, even if I don't necessarily agree with what some people are saying. It's a pleasure to work with this group, and I appreciate it. So that was that. And then the other things were, I was very sorry, switching gears, to have Uncorked canceled. So in honor of Uncorked, I went down to Wednesdays and bought a bunch of wine. And then as I was walking to the Chinese restaurant, I saw that Fearless is open again.
Yeah.
And then finally with Commissioner or Councilor Metcalf's comments about beautification, we do have rapid growth going on. And so I agree that there really is a need for us to work on those beautification plans with this rapid growth. And so I think the comment and the timing is perfect. And other than that, thank you as always to the staff for a great packet. Thank you for the people in attendance, and thank you to those who were watching. That's it.
All right, appreciate that. Okay, Melissa, you're on the seat now.
You're in my head. Yeah, well, I will piggyback off that. That's a ongoing term for me, but it just speaks in volume about how much we all think alike, but not, if that makes sense. I went to my first C4 retreat this weekend. Melanie attended, as many others in Clackamas County. And for those that don't know what C4 is, it's Clackamas County representatives that get together and they talk. And they talk about things like this. And they talk about all the things that are hard to talk about. And they listen and they do a really good job, like we do, with being able to have conversation. And it was a really beautiful thing to witness because we got to talk to people in the house. And that was great. We don't often get to do that, but they listened. They asked the right questions and we answered with the right information because that's what they ask for. And we do that with you guys. It's a streamline. And as long as we can continue to do that, we will see the improvement. And I have to say, Clackamas County is sitting pretty darn good right now. I know we talk about a lot of the negative Nancy's, and there are good things going on. And Estacada is very highly talked about right now amongst our state, and we should be proud. That's my takeaway from C4. It was beautiful. We were talked about in very good form in our standards. And I know that's, yeah, the history of us as far as being labeled as conservatives, that word to me means more than just the label of the politics. It means being a human and loving each other and living amongst one another, no matter what our favorite color is, or sport, or desire to go to the parks or the river or the mountains or whatever, or the beach. Like, we're all individuals and we can all live amongst each other. We just got to learn how to talk and show up. And that also includes voting. Like, we have to vote. And you're right, I saw the Stark number. We can't make anything happen if we don't all show up. And I gotta say, if we don't show up for IP28, it's gonna be bad. And I will put that out there. That might be a personal thought, but that's me being an individual, and I still have that right. Because we all enjoy our wilderness, which is the mountain. And I want to continue to do that freely. So pass it on.
Just want to thank everybody for coming out. I want to thank everybody that was involved in the memorial service here in town, and the Loveless family for coming down and participating in that. It was really beautiful to watch so many members of the community paying respect to the people that gave it all for our country. Yeah, I just really enjoyed that. And Melanie, when is the cutoff date for the election for our city council elections? I want to get the word out soon for that. Is it August?
I think you start in August. In fact, I was going to have, I'll have Sadie, she handles our election processes, put a post out about when that's going to start. All the details will come out later. She'll have the dates, but okay,
When's the cutoff? I just didn't want it to catch. I know when I got interested in it, it kind of caught me off guard, the timelines and the need to gather signatures and things like that. I just want to encourage all the members of the community that are interested in being in a leadership role and running for the election. There's 3 seats in the mayor's race will be coming up in November. And anybody that's interested in making a difference in their community and wanting to serve, it's a great experience. And I hope we get some really great candidates. I don't want to see people get caught off guard and trying to scramble to find good candidates. We want to have good people that come out to represent the city, and just want to encourage anyone that's interested in that to get involved early, get all your stuff taken care of so that you make it on the ballot.
August 20th, 5 p.m. is the last day to file nomination papers with the city elections official. It's on our website.
Start working now.
Yeah, so if you go to the city's website under city council election, it has all the dates and the information you need to find there. Yes.
Okay, excellent. I thought it was in there for like a previous year, but it's all in there.
Yeah, for 2026.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Thanks everybody
you,
for
Sam.
coming out. Thank you staff for another great packet. And I want to thank the city attorney for making these for just the amount of information she put into or the firm put into these resolutions and ordinance. You know, part of it's a little hard to read, but you know, honestly, just having that information in there was great, and you know, made our decisions make more sense. So thanks for that. I want to comment towards what Jonathan was bringing up earlier about, you know, beautification. So something I witnessed, I drive through Campanella every morning between 5:30 and 6, and then every Tuesday through Saturday between again 5:30 and 6, it seems. There was a vehicle that turned right onto Hill to go into Campanella. I turned left following this vehicle, and they dropped a coffee cup out their window. And there's these two ladies that were walkers. They were on the path. You know, signaled me that they were going to come grab the coffee cup. So I stopped. They walk out, grab the coffee cup, and went on their way. But you know, just something to that extent, you know, that kind of stuff is just, it's not acceptable. You know, this is our town. Even though it's not your neighborhood, this is our town. You know, what you do in your neighborhood is what you should do in everybody else's neighborhood, and you should expect them to do in your neighborhood. So, you know, just little things like that really go a long way. And I really, you know, was really happy to see those two ladies that were doing their own thing stop, take the time to pick up somebody else's garbage. So, but thank you guys. Thank you for everything. Great conversation. And to go along with what Councilor Hill and Councilor Dolezal said, you know, my first 4 years on this council are a complete and utter difference between my last 4 years on this council. My first 4 years on this council were fairly miserable, between having councilors in the beginning that just didn't care. They didn't show up. They didn't really contribute to the council. I hardly learned anything. You know, there were, you know, maybe 2 councilors and the mayor that I learned anything from the first 4 years that I was on this council. And then, you know, it's nice to see the change in just accountability and effort that has happened over the last 4 years. And, you know, really is really helping me make my decision on what I want to do for the next 4 years, whether I want to stick it out or whether I want to, you know, walk away like most people do after 8 years, unlike this guy who didn't. But, you know, it's kind of helping me make my decision, just the effort that this council puts into, you know, the decisions that we make, the conversations that we have. I really appreciate that. So thank you guys.
Thank you for the packet to the staff. I appreciate getting that and it being put together well. And I do appreciate being able to collaborate with you guys and talk to you. And it's really easy to sit up here at the dais and be critical in meetings. It's really, really easy to come up here and gripe and to pick apart the way things are done at the speed at which. But one thing I will say is when you do good, you say something. When someone does good, you say something to them. And I think that the office has made very noticeable changes. I would say the city staff, the management underneath of your leadership has made incredible, noticeable changes. I will say between social media, I will say between access to information, inclusion in information, there's noticeable differences. And so you do good, I'm going to do good by you. I may be hard, but I'm fair and firm and with my firmness. So I do appreciate the changes. I want to publicly say that. I spoke to you guys earlier about that, but I would like to address that with the group too, that I do appreciate seeing things start to change and the dynamic shift within this group and how we communicate as well. Other than that, Memorial Day is a personal one for me. I lost friends in the war. I'm sure other people have as well. That was it was pretty cool to come together and see this community, see different members and different ages, from young to old, get together and celebrate war fighters, man. And I love war fighters. I do. I have a heart for the veterans and the war fighters of this country. And it's really moving as somebody that fought and that's paid in blood to see this sense of pride and ownership. I saw Mark there. I saw Councilman McElroy. I saw Melanie. I mean, I saw figures I saw the mayor at the American Legion thing. State Representative Bunch came out to be seen at the American Legion and to sit through the memorial thing here in Estacada. So I want to say I really appreciate that this community is outwardly thankful to our veterans and our community and that they display it. That being said, I just want to continue to say, hey, how can we serve you? Approach me. Approach any of us. We're approachable. We're here to work for you. We can't work for you if we don't know what you want us to work on. Outside of Facebook complaints, they don't really land with anybody on this dais. I can assure you, we might read them, but your Facebook complaints don't mean anything. Come talk to us in person. We're human beings. Please. We do want to solve the problems for you, believe it or not. We do want to help you. We do want to make it more efficient. We do want to include you in decision-making so that we don't get rattled by you about how we're out for gain. But come meet us like these lovely people have tonight. And I do appreciate you guys spending your evening with us as well. Listening to me babble about a bunch of shit is a great way to end your night, I know. But it is thankful, and it's these little things like this that reminds me of just how important it is and how cool this community is and interactive. So please continue to be the change and the example in the world that you want to see.
There you go. All right, I'm gonna touch first on Shirley's comment earlier about the parks. The parks are looking a little shabby. I just want to know if we can get somebody in there. There's a lot of overgrowth under the road at the far end towards the skate park. A lot of the bushes are growing into the road and stuff. Kind of need to be cleaned up. I mean, maybe we should have another Earth Day or something. I mean, I'm game for that. So we've cleaned the parks before and did a great job. I'd be more than willing to get out there with my tools and help out if you need me. But that said, I want to say we are coming up on an election season, but I want people to remember one thing because we've come a long ways. Jerry said that exactly right. We've been through a lot politically in this state, you name it, everything, and hating each other for which side of that fence we're on. I'm tired of that. I'm so tired of that, I can't tell you. I'd like to get up in the morning and meet my fellow man and not care what political stance he has, just the fact that he cares where he lives and the people in it, and that he takes care of it. Good example, Jerry and me are totally separate on the spectrum in one way, but on one way, we are exactly the same. He loves Estacada. I love Estacada. And that should be the thing we're concerned with, not which political venue you belong to. So if you're going to join this group up here and your heart is in it for the right reasons, it doesn't matter where you come from or who you are. It matters what your direction is. Do you want to see your community thrive? Do you want to see your family safe? Do you love one another? And that's it. It's that simple. So I ask that you look at that before election season and make the right choice and join. We need all the people up here we can get. And we appreciate each and every one of you tonight. So I'm going to adjourn this meeting. Thank you.